Bring some sunshine, they bring some rain. They bring some sunshine, they bring some rain. They bring some sunshine, they bring some rain. They bring some sunshine, they bring some rain.
Welcome back. Welcome back to new episodes of On the Town. I'm your host, Tanya Cooper. And, I'm so glad to see you all back again. It's been a while. I know we've been on hiatus due to budget cuts. Okay, maybe there wasn't no budget. Okay, fine. But, we had to find, camera people and, producers. It's very hard to find those people, okay? And it's actually impossible in Westchester County, but that's okay. We've made do what we have. And luckily for me, I found Dennis, our producer, on the side of the road, okay? He was actually thinking that he was going to the Yorktown studio. And I was like, no, we've moved here to Peekskill. What is wrong with you? So luckily, I found him. We should give a great applause to somebody like Dennis, because without him, how am I going to do this show? Yes. Anyway, so I found a great new app for my phone. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. It's called the Soundboard. Yes, okay? Because, it's nice to have two audience members, but it's nicer when you have this. Yeah, I can do what I want. I don't need an audience, okay? So I'm loving this thing, and if I get guests that come in and, I need to know that they're here, okay? I need to know that the guest is here. Boom, that tells me. Boom, done, Okay, fine. Anyway, we have a great show for you, but did anybody see on the news, de Blasio is actually thinking of having Cardinal Dolan step in to ease tensions in Brooklyn over the unfortunate murder of the man who was selling the cigarettes and was put in chokehold by the police. But I got some advice for the guy. I just want to say, Mayor, you don't need to do all that. It's very simple. All you need to do is send out a memo to NYPD that it's not okay and it's not open season on black men, okay? That would really, I'm sorry. I had to go there. Had to take it there. Another thing, it's just sad that, deer and bears get way more respect than a black man in this country. I'm sorry. Even they have, laws on how many you can kill. But anyway, I just hope, seriously, RIP to the family and everything, but I just thought, why do all that when you can just send out a memo? It doesn't make sense. Yeah. So one of the supermodels, I think she does Victoria's Secret. I'm not sure which she does, but she's a supermodel. I saw her picture. I can't remember her name. She apparently owns this $1 million brownstone in Manhattan, somewhere on 19th Street. And she's been renting it out for a year to a hedge fund, top of the hedge fund guy and his family. So now he's suing her, claiming that, the place has rats in it, it's infested, and there's writing on the walls, and that, the building's just unsafe, and it's deplorable, and it's not livable. But I'm thinking, I got advice for the guy, too. You shelled out $1 million for this place, really? Move! Everybody knows. Everybody knows. Come on, dude. Everybody knows you can find a studio in Manhattan for $1 million. Really, that's it. Not rocket scientists. Plus, I think that the rats you're talking about are probably your freaking Rugrats. Yeah, they'll probably mess up the walls. Baby kids, that's what you got, okay? Doesn't matter if you're the head of a hedge fund. Anyway, so we have a great show for you tonight, and we have a comedian guest here, Meredith Kramer. Hi, Meredith. How are you?
Hi, Tanya. I'm fine, thanks. How
welcome
are you?
To the show. Welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for having me.
So, comedy. Comedy has been a very big thing lately.
Yes.
Everybody wants to be one.
Yes.
How did you get into comedy?
I've been doing stand-up comedy for about a year, and I've always been the funny one. I've always been the most sarcastic. I'm my father's daughter. I've always been the quick one. I've always been ready to go. People will tell me, don't worry. They'll say to another friend, don't worry if you miss a joke. There'll be another one along shortly. So I've always just been, loud and annoying and obnoxious. And I thought, well, what better way to channel all of that than into stand-up comedy? So I got a flyer in the mail from a yoga studio, which is a Jesuit monastery in the Berkshires. And I said, oh my gosh, this speaks to me. Let me go take this workshop. So I took a workshop with a famous comedian, Beth Lapidus.
Oh,
and
Beth Lapidus. Yeah, I know that. You know, everybody knows who that is. Go ahead.
She apparently was on Sex and the City, which is amazing. And we did this like intensive workshop, and I came back and I was ready to hit the ground running. And I went onto the computer and I looked at mics and I started. And it's been an amazing journey. It's been so much fun.
Awesome. And what do you think about everybody wanting to be in the comedy world now all of a sudden?
I think that it's definitely a question of too many cooks in the kitchen. I think the problem is that everybody thinks that they are funny. And I think that that's a big burden. You know, there are some people that just aren't funny.
Yes.
Like,
absolutely.
I know that my ex's mother used to say he couldn't carry a tune in a bucket. You can sing until the cows come home, but it don't make you an opera star.
Oh.
So a little bit of tough love, but I think that everybody thinks they're funny and some people are not. So you can go from funny to funnier, but you got it or you don't.
Okay.
So I think that if you're good at it and you get some good feedback, have at it.
Right.
But not everybody's going to be famous.
Right. Well, what do you think about, there's a lot of comedians who said that when they first started that they were horrible. People told them they'll never do it. And I think even Jerry Seinfeld, I think he said he bombed for a while.
Right.
And then now look at them. So what do you think?
I think it's a question of being in the right place at the right time. And I think it's about finding your voice.
Absolutely.
I think that, you know, everybody's different. And I think that you have to find your own niche. You can't be another Seinfeld. You can't be another Carrot Top. You have to be you.
Right.
And I think that in different rooms, there's a different type of audience that wants a different thing. So I think that if you do want to do it, go do open mics. Go to that dive bar in the sketchy neighborhood. Go take a workshop. Do something to figure it out. But like Kenny Rogers says, you got to know when to fold them. So I think that it's about balance, striking that balance between knowing that you can give this a go and knowing when to throw in the towel.
That makes sense. And what do you think about women in comedy? Right now, that's a big, I see a lot more women than I used to.
Yeah.
Even though it's still not nearly half as it is the men.
I definitely think it's still a boys' club. I mean, I think that's a big problem. I think that a lot of people will say that women aren't as funny or they're stuck doing certain jokes. And I think that we really need to look backwards to our idols and the groundbreakers like the Phyllis Dillises or Phyllis Dillers, you know, and the Roseanne Barrs and Ellens and things like that. And look at those three women and know that this is not only possible, it's achievable. And it's very realistic if you find your audience. And I think that you look at those people, and somebody like a Roseanne might be more crude, and Ellen wants to be everybody's friend, and they're very polarizing. Some people like one, some people like the other, and it's just tapping into what you think is more universally funny. I think women are hilarious.
Yes, absolutely.
But one caveat, I think that a woman comedian has to be a comedian. And a woman comedian shouldn't try to hang with the boys. I think she should strike out her own turf and do her own thing.
You think so?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm some of my favorites were Gilda Radner.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
God bless her soul.
Yes.
And Carol Burnett.
Absolutely, yes.
Absolutely my favorite. I love Phyllis Diller. I never saw her stand up, but just anything else I saw her doing,
right.
I loved her. I like the old Saturday Night Live model rather than the new stuff that's coming out, like old slapstick comedy.
Right.
You know, Jerry Lewis.
Right.
Dean Martin.
Martin, yeah.
I'm more of the old slapstick. You know, do you see a difference in today's comedians versus the older school ones in how they approach their humor?
Absolutely. I think that with the advent of all this technology, with Twitter and Instagram and even Facebook, everything is very, very now. And we are taking pictures of our food instead of eating our food. So I think the comedian, it's a little strange, it's a little hard to take, but I think that comedians now, the women especially, are trying to be edgy on purpose. And I think that they're abandoning who they really are, rather than trying to talk about, you know, some of them talk about housework or they talk about raising kids. Like writing, you got to write what you know.
Right, truth.
And I think you have to own that. And I think that if a woman can pull off an adult joke about pleasuring herself or something like that, that's fine, but don't fake that. You have to be you, because if you're faking it, nobody's going to find you funny, and you ain't going anywhere.
Right.
So I think the men have more freedom, perhaps, and the women really have to work a little bit harder to find that audience.
Yeah, I think they do. But I find I was going around to different places to see what women are saying.
Yeah.
And I find like a lot of the open mics, I hear girls purposely talking about sex, like so
Yes.
they can immediately catch that guy, especially the young audience.
Yes.
And it's
Yes.
so like it really so pisses me off and makes
Yeah.
me think like, oh, can you think of something else? I mean, if that's you, then that's fine. Like if a stripper was a comic, turned comic, and she was talking about sexual jokes, that would make sense, and it would be hysterical, right? Because that's what she does. That's all she does.
Exactly.
But you know, for you to take advantage of your boobs, like I am right now, no, I'm totally joking. To take advantage of your womanness, I don't know. I think unless it's something you do in your profession, I think it's kind of whack.
I couldn't agree more. Like I
just me.
said, you have to be you, and if you're crude by nature, then that's fine. But you have to understand certain things resonate with everybody, and certain things are so focused that not everybody's going to find them funny.
Absolutely.
And I don't know that you can hang with the boys, and I don't think you should want to.
Right.
I think you should, again, like the Roseanne or even Rosie O'Donnell or anybody. They have their own. Evan and Ellen has their own brand of comedy.
They sure
It
do.
doesn't necessarily matter that they're female; they're just funny.
Right. Right.
So
Absolutely.
I think you have to compete against you,
Absolutely.
and you have to do you. Everyone else is taken.
Absolutely. But do you ever feel like when you're at open mics or anything that sometimes women kind of get pushed to the back? Sometimes I feel that. I mean, the ones I've been going to here in Westchester, I feel the love, no problem.
Right.
But that I have observed some where I'm like,
Right.
women are not, if they're not assertive and go-getters,
Right.
they could easily be pushed to the side just a little bit.
Okay.
So.
I think that if you're a comedian, you have to get over that.
Right.
I know that most of the mics that I've done, it's primarily men, and there aren't very many females.
Right.
So the ones that are there really have to plant their flag and say, I'm here.
Right.
I think that you can be a little bit edgy and still be true to yourself. I don't know that I get pushed to the side so much because I am so big. I have such a big personality.
You do.
But I think that there are people that are out there that are sort of, I'm not sure I'm funny. This is going to be awful. And that's a female thing, is apologizing for everything. No. Even if you are dead wrong and nobody laughs at anything, you got to own that and be you. So I think that we as females need to push each other and help each other and say, look, get out there. Take more workshops, log more stage time, do stuff.
Right.
So rather than knock each other down and push, like you said, get pushed out of the way.
Right. Are we actually being pranked? Do I actually hear a phone in the background? Are we being pranked? I think.
I'm wondering if
I'm waiting for Ashton Kutcher to come out and tell me I
coming
don't
out.
hear a machine or someone on the phone. In the
Oh,
back.
you're worried about Ashton
Really?
Kutcher. I'm worried
Yeah.
about Candid Camera. I'm dating myself a little bit.
What about have you seen unfortunate news? R.I.P. to Robin Williams' family. You know, do you heard
Yes,
about that?
I did see
unfortunate
that.
suicide?
I was at an open mic last night, as a matter of fact, and my mom pushed her phone across the table, her flip phone from 1980 whatever, and she showed me that my sister had texted her, and then we all got out our smartphones and we looked it up, and we were just pretty well horrified. I mean, it was such a shock.
Yes. I mean,
Even now, you get a little emotional.
Yeah, Patch Adams. I mean, all the movies that he did, just amazing.
But everything from the 70s, Mork,
Yes,
Nanu
Mork
Nanu,
and
Make Peace, and,
Yes.
and everything, Mrs. Doubtfire, and all of the things that we sort of grew up with, what's it, Dead Poet Society?
Yes.
The movie that he did, and just, and I'm a big Law and Order fan, and one of the people tweeted, about how his character, he was only on one episode, he was like the only criminal that totally fooled the cops and got away with murder.
Oh, wow.
And really, and just what a renaissance man that he really was able to do so many different things. But obviously he had demons and struggled for years.
Yeah, he had mentioned it. I've heard him mention stuff in his sets. I think it was one time I heard something and I was surprised. But
Right.
I really thought he would overcome it somehow.
Right.
But apparently not.
Well, you look at, and I don't know too much, but Philip Seymour Hoffman,
Yes, that's
similar
another one.
issue. And
Yes.
it's unfortunate, but you're not in someone else's skin. You're not on their journey. You have no idea what they're going through.
Absolutely.
And how they handle things.
Absolutely.
You hope that they're okay and that they get the help that they need, but I guess it's insurmountable and they couldn't lick the problem.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the reasons why I love comedy so much because, as much pain as somebody may be going in the real world,
Right.
if you really get into comedy, there's so many people out there that can make you laugh.
Yes.
And
Yes.
at least get through for the day of whatever pain you're going through.
Right.
So Robin Williams was that type of person.
Yes.
I thought he was put on this earth to help people through pain, and maybe he didn't know that, but
Right.
I don't know. It's just, it was very shocking, very shocking. So RIP to Robin Williams and his family. And we lost a great true comic. I mean,
Yes.
he was one of my idols, one of the people I had on my my to-do list to meet.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
But that won't happen, and you know, I'm sure he's up there somewhere making somebody else laugh. You know, so.
One would hope, yes, that he can finally find. Well, that's it. Finally find some peace.
Yeah.
Maybe and having escaped
Closure.
some of these demons that he couldn't deal with on Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on a different note, who are some of your favorite comedians?
Here's the part where I embarrass myself. I think one of my favorite comedians actually is Gallagher.
Gallagher.
I haven't seen him in forever, you know, with the watermelons,
Yes,
smashing
okay.
the watermelons, because I love puns and I love witticisms, and, you know, I'm a teacher in real life, so it's playing with language. You know, he did this one bit, and I thought it was hilarious, where he took out, you know, a deck of playing cards, and we've all seen the I Love New York, right? And there's, you know, the I Heart New York app, and or the bumper sticker or the T-shirts or whatever. So then he takes out the spade, and he says, "I spade my dog," you know, and then he says, which I think is so funny and so clever, but it's so everyday.
Right.
You know, it's nothing that nobody will understand. There's so many comics out there that, like art, like I just don't get it.
Right.
You know, and then he did one that was a little off color, and he took out the club, and he says, "I club my dog." You know, and it's funny, but it's not, you know, but it's that thing of playing with things. And I love watching Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Oh, that's a great.
Because, you know, you can see the camaraderie, and you can see the comedians ribbing each other. And, you know, if anybody's unfamiliar with it, it's sort of like that contestant type show with fake points and all that. But the great part is that even between, so, you know, a lot of times they get up, they do their thing. And I remember on another note, I went to see the taping of one of the shows, like Ricky Lake or something. And, you know, as soon as you go to a commercial, they're off camera.
Right.
They don't care about you. They don't even know you're there.
Right.
And everything is phony and everything is fake. I think with the Who's Line, even in between the little sketches, you can see them kind of poking fun at each other and ribbing each other. And you can tell they're in sync. They've worked together a long time, and they know what they're doing.
Right.
And I love, you know, the prop game where they have to make things out of nothing and that sort of thing.
Right.
Yes.
Wow. Well, you know, I'm trying to think. What was the first joke that you ever told? Do you remember?
Oh,
That's
gosh.
hard, right?
The first joke I ever told.
Think long and hard.
Think long and hard.
First joke.
There's a joke in there somewhere. I don't know, but I can tell you a joke that I wrote when I was in elementary or middle school.
Go ahead.
What do you call a buffalo sleepover?
A buffalo sleepover. I don't know. What do you call it?
A bison tent deal.
I think that's good.
Oh, thank you,
There's an
audience.
applause.
Thank you. I love just playing with words and puns and just using language, because English is so fluid.
Right.
You know, you can say the most broken fakakta sentence and somebody will understand you, and they'll get it.
Right.
So just it's playing to
Right.
me.
Right. Now, did you major? What did you major in to become a teacher?
My undergraduate degree is Spanish literature and French.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Tu parles français?
Oui, je parle français.
Okay.
And my graduate degree is Spanish and education, so I'm a middle school Spanish teacher.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I just got a job,
How
thank
amazing.
goodness.
And she deserves an applause for that. Yes. I mean,
Thank
come
you.
on. Your teachers, right? Teachers are the
The backbone.
yes,
Yes,
to our
yes,
society, yes.
Absolutely.
yeah. Well,
Thank you.
So I wanted to hear something you have for us. Would you do like maybe 5 minutes for us?
Sure, why
Okay,
not?
Awesome. Yes, we do want to hear that for sure. Okay.
Thank
so
you.
we're gonna hope that we can hear Meredith now, and she's gonna do 5 minutes for us. That'll work? Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Right. We're good to go.
So I came here to talk about housework and how much I loves me some housework. Not. Does anybody like housework?
No. No.
Crickets, crickets, crickets.
No. No.
I hate housework, but not for the reason that you may think. I hate housework because I always end up injuring myself when I do housework. True story. So when I was younger, growing up in my parents' house, we had this vacuum. and it had features and benefits and all this cool stuff. Well, at least I thought it was cool. It had this cord where if you yank on it, it retracts. And it, like the cord hides inside the machine, right? So it doesn't get tangled on anything. I am probably the only person you will ever meet in your entire life in the 129-year Electrolux history to bruise myself on the vacuum.
That's good.
I can't. I just, and another thing I can't stand is doing dishes. First of all, because it never ends, right? But we have this hardware on the front of the sink, and it's like these little pokey things, and it's right at belly height, so I'm always like poking myself and that sort of thing. And the sink is always wet, because you're always doing dishes. So it gets wet right in this area, right in the middle here. And it looks like I peed myself in an anti-gravity chamber because there's water everywhere. But back to the vacuuming for a second. I found a workaround, which I thought was fantastic. When I was younger, again, I'm growing up at my parents' house, I had 2 pets. I had a parakeet, which was amazing. She would come when called and all that stuff. And I had a rabbit. And the parakeet would like dig and 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 get into her seeds, and eat the seeds and scatter them everywhere. So what did I do in my infinite wisdom? I let the rabbit out of his cage, and he would come around and he would eat the seeds. Everybody wins. I don't have to vacuum. My mom stops nagging me, and the rabbit's fed. Sounds like a win-win to me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Anyway, I've also thought a lot lately about people who use things not for their intended purposes. I'll give you an example. My mom has an e-reader, right? The Kindle. The word reading is in the title. It's an e-reader. What does she use the e-reader for? Playing games. She plays a crossword game and she plays games on it. I'm just wondering, this blows my mind. I'm like, you spend all this money on an e-reader to play games. What do I use my e-reader for? Oh, I read about books. So I was too cheap to spend the extra $20 and get the one without advertising. So what I did was, every time I turn it on, there's an advertisement for a book. So I said, oh, that looks good. And then, you read the description and you read the reviews and then you download it or you don't, whatever. Oh my God, shopping wirelessly, I'm going to blow my fortune. But I read about a book, and then it's like, oh, if you like this book, you'll like that book. So I read about that book too. And then I read about the third book, and then this and that, the other. And all of a sudden, it's 20 minutes later, and I haven't done any reading. I've been reading about books. Yeah. Also, cars. I don't think people use cars for their intended purposes. A car to me is a conveyance, a way to get from point A to point B. Have you seen what people do in their cars lately? I saw a guy braiding his beard. So he's driving. He's got his knee on the steering wheel, and he's like this, and he's got a phone in his ear, and he's braiding his beard. I'm not sure if he's doing that bro stash Movember thing, like a contest, whatever. We've all seen women doing their makeup and, brushing and talking on the phone and things like that. What I do in the car is I eat, because I'm always in motion. I do a lot of things. I got my hand in a lot of pots, right? So I'm always having a snack of some kind. Where do I get my snacks? The diner. Whenever I go out to eat at a diner, people always get real embarrassed. They don't want to go with me because I steal everything that's wrapped. They put out the bread basket, and the bread basket has breadsticks, and it has, saltines and all kinds of crackers and stuff like that. And I just whoosh right into my bag. So I keep them in the console, and I eat when I'm driving. One thing that bugs me about driving is, I don't know if anybody's seen those driver's ed videos, Mr. Walker and Mr. Wheeler. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So for those of you that have it, it's like a goofy type character, the big dog. And Mr. Wheeler is a jerk. It's like Jekyll and Hyde, and he gets behind the wheel and he's like, arr, and he's driving like on the sidewalk and he's mowing people down and he's driving really fast. So when I get behind the wheel, I too am Mr. Wheeler, because in my neighborhood, people don't jaywalk. They like queue walk. They don't walk diagonal across the street. They don't walk straight across the street. They walk as fakaked away as possible, which drives me crazy because I live in a predominantly Hispanic neighborhood. And, in the middle of the street, they'll walk across the street, whether they have the light or they don't, walk halfway across the street, stop on the double yellow line. Right in the middle of the street, there's a birth. There's a wedding. There's a quinceañera, that Sweet 16 type party. And then they zip across the street. And it's not just one person. It's like a gaggle. It's like geese. There's like a woman. and she's holding a hand of a kid who's holding a hand of another kid who's holding a hand of another kid. And then there's grandma 10 feet behind. So you're like, trying to stop. But then when I get out of the car and I'm Mr. Walker, I'm really concerned about, not getting run over by Mr. Wheeler. So I'm doing my thing. I'm trying to walk. And you know what? If I see a car coming, I'm going to move it. And I'm going to do that fake jog thing across the street. So you at least think that I'm trying to respect you. That sort of thing. I'll leave you with this. I also do a lot of driving, quote unquote, upstate on the Goat Trail, also known as Route 6. On one side you got a cliff, you got the rocks rather, and the other side you got a cliff. And there's invariably, and it's one lane in either direction, invariably there is a truck behind me. Not some rinky-dink little box truck U-Haul thing. Oh no. It's like an 18-wheeler serious truck. And they can't get around you, because as I mentioned, it's one lane in either direction. So they start moving laterally. So what I do is I become that person, and I do Morse code with my taillights. So it's get off my tail. So the moral of the story is when you are driving, watch out for pedestrians. And when you are a pedestrian, move your butt. Thank you. That's my time.
Meredith Kramer, thank you very much. Thank you so much, Meredith. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So we can find you at any open mic, the Bean Runner, Peekskill, Molly Spillings, Copperface Jack's, the Backyard Pub. That's right. I failed to mention you had actually a paid gig before at Mimo's Tapas Sports in New York. Yes. Okay.
Yay for paid gigs.
Yeah. Well, we thank you so much for being our guest, right? Yes.
Thank you.
I want to thank you very much. And so basically, anybody who wants to be a guest on our show, you can email me at tgirlcooper@yahoo.com. Okay. Just understand that no fancy snancy services here, we keep it 100%, okay? And, there's no teleprompter, no reading of your notes like me, or you might see that. You never know what you're going to get. But at any rate, you're going to get something because you'll be on the Town with Tanya. Yes. I would like to thank my producer, Dennis. Yes. Can I get a clap for that? Really? Right. And I'd like to thank Meredith Kramer for coming to the show. And until next time, people, please, stay watching and make sure you watch On the Town Sundays on channel 74, 54 in some areas. And thank you very much. We'll see you next time.
Some sunshine, they bring some rain. They bring some sunshine, they bring some rain. They